Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Diamond. Mrs. Bush here. Today we're going to go ahead and start our math lessons on magnitude. This is going to be a new topic that we haven't covered before the end of school close. So what we're going to do today is talk about what magnitude is and how you can use it at home to practice learning on this objective. So magnitude is looking at a set of objects. So if you have marbles or gumdrops, pencils, pens, really any set of things, then you can guess a reasonable order of magnitude. So what that means is you're going to use a best guess or what you know to make a guess or a prediction about how many items are there. For instance, if I see a gumball machine at the store and I want to know how many gumballs are in that machine, I can't go into that gumball machine and take everything out and count each gumball, but I can make an estimate about how many I think are in there. Is it going to be the exact amount? Probably not, but I can use what I know to make a close guess. And that's what we're going to be practicing this week. So we're going to look at a few jars today. I have a large jar here and I have a small jar here. Now at home, I want you to think about which jar do you think is going to hold more objects? The large one or the small one? Did you pick the large one? That's right. The large one is going to hold more objects than the small one because there's more space to fill in the large, tall object. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at a few examples to kind of make sure that we have a good understanding of what magnitude is. And we really want to make sure that we're also looking at the size of the jars as well as the size of the objects. So if I have a really, really big object, for instance, if I have this eraser and I put it inside of this jar, how many erasers do you think would fit in this jar? Probably just the one. I don't think I could fit another one in here. But if I have these teddy bear counters, they're pretty small. So I think more than one could probably fit in this jar. So I want you to be thinking about that as we go through a few of these examples. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to put a few objects into each jar, and I want you to make a prediction on how many you think are in the jar. So let's look at my jar now. It's not full and it's not empty. Do you think there's one bear in here? Probably not, because I can see with my eyes that there's way more than one in here. I already see 3 colors on the top. Do you think there's 100 bears in here? That might be a little too high. We're not even full up to the top yet. So I think maybe there's about 10 or 15 bears because I know that 1 would be way too little and I know that 100 would be way too much. So what we're going to do is do another example. Now, I'm going to use the small jar and the large jar because when you're making predictions, you have to make sure that you are looking at both the size of the objects and the size of the jar. So I'm going to use both jars, and now they're full. Both of the jars are full to the top, the large jar and the small jar. But even though they're both full of teddy bear counters, does that mean that they have the same amount? Nope, that's correct. So this one is going to hold a lot more bears than this one because this one has less space to fill up. Even though it's full to the top, there's still more bears in here. So we're going to take a break really quick and we're going to switch to a movie of me reading a book called Can You Guess? And this is going to help you understand a little bit more of the concepts of more and less. So make sure that you're paying close attention to the video, and we're going to continue talking about magnitude and practicing some examples. Enjoy the book. We're going to go ahead and read a book called Can You Guess? So this is going to go right along with what we've been doing in our math lessons this week on magnitude. So remember that magnitude means that it's an estimate. You're making your best choice about how many objects are in a container or how many objects in a set can you see. So we're going to go ahead and open the book, Can You Guess? And we're going to read to find out what we can learn about estimation. More or less. Guessing an amount is estimating. You guess it is more or it is less. How many blocks make a house? I guess 3. What's your guess? More or less? So if you think you need more than 3 blocks to make a house, then you say more. If you think you need less than 3 bricks or blocks to make a house, you say less. Did you guess less? It just takes 2. How many pieces of chalk fit in the box? I guess 6. What's your guess? More or less? Did you guess more? It takes 8. How many steps to cross the finish line? I guess 7. What's your guess? More or less? Did you guess more? It takes about 9. How many pails of sand fill a bucket? I guess 11. What's your guess? More or less? Did you guess less? It takes about 8. How many gumballs are in this jar? I guess 12. What's your guess? More or less? Did you guess more? It takes about 15. Both more and less are good guesses. The end. So you notice when we were reading our book, it didn't ask you if it was exactly the amount. It wasn't asking you to count. It was asking you to make your best estimate or your best prediction on how many you thought. All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that read along with Can You Guess? We're going to do a last few couple of examples on how to look at magnitude and to use our knowledge and what we already know to make our best guess about how many objects we think are in a container. So we're going to look at our 2 large jars that we have today. I have one jar with blue and yellow bears, and I have one jar with red bears. Now we know that our bears, they're the same size. If it's red, if it's green, they're all the same. But does the color really matter? Or does the size matter? The color doesn't matter at all. It could be purple, it could be white, it could be blue, any color. But if they're the same size, then that's all that matters because we want to make sure that our set has the same number of items in it. So look at both of my jars. I have my blue and yellow jar, and I have my red jar. Now, which one do you think has more bears inside the jars? This one or this one? Did you pick the blue and yellow? That's right. This one has a lot more. I can see it because this one is almost full to the top and this one's just below the middle. So I can tell that this one has less and this one has more. So now we're going to look at one more example. And this one might be a tricky one. So I want to see if you guys at home can figure this out. So I have a large jar with the red bears and I have my small jar with my green bears. Now, not the same size jar, but they are the same size bears. So let's think, which one has more? The red or the green? So I told you guys this was a tricky one. It actually is the same amount in both jars. Can you believe that? This one has 15 red bears and this one has 15 green bears, but they don't look the same, do they? This one, we're right below the middle again. We're not to the top, but this one is to the top. We can have the same amount on each side, but the jar or the container that it's in, if it's a different size, then it's going to look a little bit different. So that one was a tricky one. So I want to see at home if you can look at different containers and maybe use your best estimate to see how many things are in it. So it could be your closet. How many shoes do you have in your closet? Or maybe go to your kitchen and see how many cans of soda are in the refrigerator. How many spoons do you have in the drawer? Think about how you can practice guessing the best order of magnitude at home. And then if you want, you can go on to Flipgrid and share what you've learned or share what you've guessed at home so everyone else can see. All right, so we're going to come back tomorrow to do another lesson on magnitude. And then hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your night. See you guys later.